Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mithril Blue, and I just want to welcome you to another Mithril Monday. And thank you guys so much just for all the positive feedback. I'm really glad that some of you are enjoying this. That does mean a lot. It is really encouraging, especially in a world and in a platform where, there's a lot of people with a lot of things to say. But anyways, one thing that I wanted to share this week or this Monday that I have been really trying to focus on over the last couple of weeks. And I think it was about a month ago I read this story. Jesus tells a story about a king who is going to go on a trip. And so before he leaves, he gives his three slaves. Some translations say servants. The translation I'm reading right now is the NASB. It's supposed to be a more literal translation. The translation is slaves. I think most people use servants because there is quite a big difference between the idea or concept of slaves and slavery in the 21st century than in the first century. And it wasn't necessarily like this brutal slave trade, but rather people offering themselves, selling themselves into slavery in order to be taken care of, or maybe to pay off debts or be able to take care of their family. Nevertheless, there is that still similarity of, a slave was owned and considered a piece of property versus a servant, someone who's being paid for a service. And so anyways, the king gives his three slaves, he gives 10 mina to one, 5 mina to another, and 1 mina to another. And so he goes off, and when he returns, the first servant comes to him and is like, "Hey, king, while you were gone, I took this 10 mina and I made 10 more." And he's like, "Wow, well done, good and faithful servant. Because you've done well with what I've given you, I'm going to actually make you the ruler over 10 cities." And the second servant comes and he goes, "Hey, king, with this 5 mina, I made 5 more." And he goes, "Well done. I'm going to make you the ruler over 5 cities." And the last slave comes and he goes, "King, I know that you're a hard man. You basically have people do stuff for you just to make, and really just to make yourself better. And I knew if I would have messed this thing up, like you're a mean dude. So I decided to bury it, make sure nothing's going to happen to it, keep it safe. Because if I would have lost this thing, it would have been over for me because you're just so freaking brutal." And he goes, "You wicked servant. Why didn't you at least just put it in the bank? Then at least maybe I would have gotten some interest." And so he says, "Take the 1 mina from the man and give it to the one with 10. And then there's people that are like, "But he already has 10. And he goes, "Yeah. And those who do well with what they've been given will be given more. Those who don't do anything with even the little bit that they've been given, it'll be taken from them." And so typically I've read the story as like a reason of, whatever you have, whether it's a lot or a little, do the best you got, kind of, lesson. But what really hit me this time was this idea of was still an idea of stewardship, but really putting into perspective the kind of stewardship that is being told in this story. For context, like 10 mina, I looked it up, would be like somewhere between $400 and $600 today. The king, at least that the king he at least has authority to give enough authority to give other people authority over cities. So he's at least a governor status. And these slaves, they are slaves. They're not working. The work that they're doing isn't for their own personal gain. They're not getting paid for their work. They're probably still getting some benefits, like they get a meal, they get a place to stay. But it's not like I think of like like an Alfred from Batman, right? Like that's a servant, right? Whether he is there because he loves the family and he's getting paid and he's part of the family, or whether you're a servant at Red Robin, right? Either way, like there's something in it for you, right? You're earning money, you're trying to climb the ladder, you're trying to, it is much different. I think we can all agree than a slave, regardless of really which context we think of slavery in. And so for these slaves to be given this money, entrusted with this money, like it's not a big portion of money, right? Like I think, if Kate Brown lost a couple $100, like she probably is not going to lose any sleep. But well, maybe. But anyways, but these slaves are given a couple $100, essentially, and then just they double it, right? Or at least the first two do. They double it. And what's crazy is that these slaves go. The king goes, "Well done. I'm going to take, because of what you've done, I'm going to take you from where you are and to actually be from a slave to a ruler of cities, a slave to a ruler of the free, of free citizens, not like a slave to like, okay, now you're the slave in charge of the other slaves, or not even a slave to a servant, or not even a slave to like, okay, well now I'm going to, wow, you've done really well, so now I'm actually going to pay you for the work because I can trust you to do some good work. You've proven that you've done. No, the king takes him from a slave to a ruler. And that just made me think like it's so different than probably than what I experienced today, where I think there's a lot of things that in my life that I view as common might have some value to me. Like $400 has got value to me. Everybody got $400. I mean, not everybody has $400, but you know what I mean? Like, right? Like that's it's not even a paycheck for a minimum wage, right? That's like, it's a week's worth, hopefully a week's worth pay for minimum wage workers, right? It's common, right? I think we can agree that's a common amount of money. It's not anything extreme. Like $400,000, okay, now we're talking. But $400, I think for me, there's a lot of things in my life that I think I identify as common. But in this story, even if the money, the thing itself was common in relation or in comparison to stuff that everybody else has got, it wasn't common because of the authority of the person that gave the slaves what they had. And so when the slaves chose to do something simply because they're asked, simply because of the authority that the one giving had, they were elevated to higher heights than free people, than the free. And I think for me, music especially, it's really easy to think, man, okay, I got these songs. I love these songs. This is the best music I've ever made. There's a lot of songs where it's like, I can't even believe I made this song. Like, I was not someone that was born with a lot of capabilities, musical talent, especially rap talent or producer talent, but I just loved it. I just fell in love with it. And I've been doing it for a really, really long time. And so for a lot of these songs, it's like, man, I can't believe that I actually made these. This is really cool. And so, but even with that, I can identify, okay, these are clearly not me, especially a lot of these songs, like God has definitely inspired this. And so like, God, yours is the glory. This is all you. Like, thank you, God. This is awesome. But even after all that, even if I can recognize who it is that has given me these things, I still have this habit of comparing it to everybody else. Comparing it, oh, I love this music, but look at what this person does. Or even, Drake, or even this person that's not a professional, but look how talented they are. I want to be an artist and I want to have a career, but this person clearly makes better stuff than me. So why should I have a career over them? And it's easy to compare, right? But I think what really shifted my thinking with this story is it's not about the thing, but rather the authority of who it is that has given me the thing, It's about the fact that it's God who has given me these songs, these ideas. And that's what makes what I do, how I steward this, so important. Because if this is a servant that's like, hey, I saved up a couple bucks, can the servant isn't going to have any authority then, even if you flip that money, right? You double that money for him. What more authority is the servant? He's like, oh, man, dude, thanks, man. You know what? From now on, I'm going to give you free breadsticks. Like, I don't know, right? Like, servant doesn't have a lot of authority to then take you to another place. But the king, right? The king goes and takes these servants and surpass, they don't have to climb the ladder. They go from here and they just go way up, man. And so anyways, it's not necessarily about trying to, do something to get something, but there is a reality in, man, there's things in my life that this stuff is not common. Because it's God who's given it to me. And so I need to steward this because of how incredible the person who has given me is, right? And so that's been something that's really been motivating for me and challenging me. And I just want to challenge you, like, what are some things in your life that you're viewing as common? I know, like, oh, like I got a house. I got some money. I got a job, I got way too many clothes. I got video games. I got gaming consoles, right? A lot of stuff that I view as common, not really special. Even though in relation to the rest of the world, like, it is way more. But because it's common, it's like, I'm not really motivated, right? But if I start to actually recognize the person who has actually given me and blessed me with these things, I'm then motivated and pushed to steward this way better, way more serious, way more intentional. So that's my word today. I hope that made sense. Thanks again, everyone, for the love. Hope to see you next week. Take care.